Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something, well, maybe a little unexpected. Why do some people really break through, achieve things, while others seem stuck? And the core idea we're exploring, it comes from this one article, isn't that people lack desire for success. It's maybe that they lack a really intense dislike for, well, for anything less, for losing.
Right. It's quite a flip, isn't it, from the usual focus on your dreams narrative?
Exactly. Counterintuitive. So our mission today is just to understand this concept, see if it resonates.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the source argues this aversion to losing, this hate for mediocrity, can be a powerful driver. It kind of taps into that idea, that the pain of loss often feels stronger than the pleasure of gain.
That makes sense. The article puts it quite vividly. It says many people sort of make peace with losing. They get comfortable with being average, like slipping into a cozy blanket.
Oh, that's a good image. Yeah.
We just settle, right? Even if settling keeps us from what we say we want.
And to contrast that, the article uses this powerful analogy.
The lion.
Yes, the lion hunting. Not just because it fancies a meal, but out of sheer necessity for survival.
And that intensity.
Exactly. That's the intensity the article connects to how winners treat success. It's not optional, it's vital.
Which makes you look at that disconnect you often see.
Yeah.
People say, I want to be successful, I'm grinding, but then...
Hours on social media. Poor eating habits. Yeah, you see it all the time.
the actions just don't seem to match that stated goal.
And the article argues that losing, or just staying stuck, it doesn't really motivate you until it becomes genuinely unpleasant, like truly disgusting or painful, intolerable.
Okay, but here's a twist.
Yeah.
Right? The article says this aversion, this hate for losing,
Yeah.
it's not something you're born with.
Right, that's key. It's not innate.
It's built, cultivated through experience, which is actually kind of hopeful, I think.
Definitely. It suggests winners learn from failures. They feel that sting, that pain of a low bank balance or a business not working out, and they actively decide, nope, never again. They resolve not to repeat that feeling, that outcome.
So that learned hate, that aversion becomes fuel.
Yeah, exactly. Fuel, it's what gets you up early, keeps you learning, pushing, especially when others might just hit snooze or, stay passive. It drives action because the alternative is just too unpleasant to accept.
And the flip side, according to the article, is that accepting average, well, it comes with its own price.
It frames it as being punished, essentially.
Punished with debt, maybe poor health, obscurity, the natural consequences of not striving intensely to avoid those things.
So the challenge it puts forward is, can you cultivate a genuine disgust for losing, for not meeting your potential?
And use that feeling not to beat yourself up, but as motivation.
Right. It's about reflecting on past losses or stagnation, making that feeling real again and using it. I don't want that.
It's less about vague positive thinking and more about a very strong desire to avoid a specific negative state.
Precisely. And the article suggests the outcomes aren't just avoiding the bad stuff. Things like financial success, fitness, respect. They become almost byproducts.
Byproducts of what?
Of that intense drive just to not lose, to not be in that state you've learned to despise.
So it all circles back to that core idea.
When the desire to avoid losing, that cultivated aversion, becomes stronger than the desire for comfort.
Then, as the article puts it, you become unstoppable.
Yeah, it's a powerful framing.
Okay, so to wrap up this deep dive, the main takeaway from this source is really about harnessing the negative. Cultivating a strong aversion to losing, to mediocrity, can be a surprisingly potent force for driving change.
It shifts the focus, doesn't it? From just dreaming of winning to actively fighting against the possibility of falling short.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. Think about one area in your life, maybe somewhere you've gotten a bit too comfortable with, well, with not quite winning, where the results aren't what you truly want. What if you tried to intentionally cultivate a stronger dislike for that current situation? A real aversion to that specific loss of potential? How might that shift your approach, your actions, and ultimately your results?
Something to think about.
Definitely. Thanks for diving deep with us.